During the mid-90s, the N64 dominated the gaming market with games like Super Mario 64, and eventually The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time in 1998. For those who didn't buy an N64, there was an alternative in the form of the PlayStation. The PlayStation was very different from the N64 in that its games came on a CD instead of a cartridge, which nowadays doesn't seem too bad, but back in the mid-90s, it was a big deal. With CDs, better music, better graphics, and better sound were capable of being produced, which gave Nintendo fans and gaming fans in general a run for their money. One of the biggest games to come out during this period of gaming is Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was the outcome of a failed partnership between Nintendo and Square, which made Square seek help from Sony, the maker of the PlayStation. It was on the PlayStation that Square delivered some of the greatest RPGs of all time, including Final Fantasy VII, 8, 9, Chrono Cross, and even Xenogears. The focus of this video, however, will be on Final Fantasy VII, the game which helped popularize RPGs in the Western gaming market. The game begins with one of the most impressive opening cutscenes I've ever seen. It shows the character Aerith, or Aerith, walking along a street in the industrial city of Midgar, when the camera pulls back, allowing you to see more of the city. The title theme kicks in and we are off in the adventure. We are then introduced to the environmentalist group Avalanche. Their goal is to stop Midgar from using Mako to power their city. The story of Final Fantasy VII takes so many twists and turns and expands into so many side stories that this game gives War and Peace a run for its money. Characters have always been an important part of any Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy VII stands on its own with some of the most interesting and memorable characters I have ever played as. The main character, Cloud, has a foggy and somewhat checkered past. Barrett, the leader of Avalanche, is filled with rage against the world, but also is filled with love for his daughter, Marlene. Tifa, another member of Avalanche and a childhood friend of Cloud. And Aeris. Aeris is a flower girl who sells the only flowers found in Midgar, as its industrialized nature doesn't allow for much plant life. From playing this game, however, you'll learn that there's more to Aeris than meets the eye. The main villain of the game, Sephiroth, is usually considered the most popular Final Fantasy villain. He is fiercely strong and completely insane, even going so far as to burn down Cloud's hometown. Of course, by the mid-90s, video games had finally reached the third dimension, with Super Mario 64 being one of the first to utilize the third dimension. The decision to put Final Fantasy VII on a CD was a great decision. This certainly put Final Fantasy VII above most of the N64 library of games in terms of graphics and sound, and even most PlayStation games at the time. Music is one of the first things that comes to mind when thinking about Final Fantasy VII. The music here is beautifully performed and composed by Nobuo Uematsu, and this is what I believe to be the best Final Fantasy soundtrack to date. Every song is diverse and sticks in my head long after I've stopped playing the game. Each moment of this game, whether it's happy, funny, sad, or dramatic, is just made that much better by the music. It's extremely hard to think about the bad things I have to say about this game. For starters, the control can be hard to get used to. It's hard to explain, but play this game for yourself and you'll see what I mean. This game also hasn't aged well, as people hoped. Every character just looks blocky, and it's not fun to look at them for long periods of time. The environments you run in, however, just look fantastic, and puts the game above other games at the time. For 1997, Final Fantasy VII really raised the bar in terms of graphics, sound, and story. It's arguably the greatest PlayStation game, and one of the greatest games of all time. This is Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation.